name is Lance Waller. I'm a professor and chair of the Department of Biostatistics and Bioinformatics in the Rollins School of Public Health here at Emory University. So my role in MaHPIC is a member of the Internal Advisory Board, reviewing some of the data analytic techniques. We know the general framework in which malaria works, but there are an awful lot of details, and we're generating data about the organism, about the host, trying to link all that together. Every complicated bit of data creates a need for a new way to analyze the data, and that's the part I'm interested in. I'm primarily in an advisory role, and as a statistician, it's trying to turn the biological questions into data analytic questions. So we're trying to combine complicated mathematical models with complicated genetic and sequence data on the disease process and trying to estimate the pieces in the best way we can. I've been working in the field of public health, particularly geographic information systems and spatial statistics, for a long time. I'm particularly interested in disease ecology, the interaction between pathogens, their vectors, the hosts, and the environment. So we get lots of data sources from different settings, and placing them together on the map is what interests me. I'm also interested in how do we do surveillance? How do we measure what we need to know? We're often measuring things because we can, and the trick is to measure them how we should in order to learn the most about the system. So we use Google Maps. I work with geographic information systems. The spatial context provides a way to link data ranging from satellites down to the sequence from the sample you took at a particular location. So you can link in weather data, climate data. You can link in transportation data. I've seen work where they're integrating the amount of light that shows at night to tell you how many people are at a certain location, which is particularly important in areas where you don't get a regular census and there's a large immigration and emigration over the course of seasons. So we try to use the data we can to learn the things that we're not measuring directly. Some of the most exciting things about MaHPIC is bringing in a skill set from around the world and across so many disciplines. We're bringing in people who are experts in particular locations and in particular parts of understanding a complex system like malaria. Being able to understand all those pieces together helps you identify the places where you can make the biggest impact on treatment and prevention. So for students and researchers, this is a fantastic time to get involved because the nature of the data, the amount of data is growing at a huge rate, but it's also growing faster than we know what to do with it. So there's problems in linking the data, there's problems in just storing the data, there's problems in understanding the data, and there's problems in turning data into information. There's a lot of work to do in a lot of different disciplines, and it's a great time to be involved. So the difference between data and information is data is something you measured because you could. You have an instrument that can measure something at a very precise level. Information is taking that particular measurement of an element within a system and understanding what that means for how the system works. One of the most interesting things about linking information from a pathogen to what's happening in the host is we have a constant dynamic system of an immune response responding to a parasite within the system. Trying to understand what switches get flipped and make the immune system work well, which would lead to ideas for a vaccine, is a critically important element of trying to make it work. It's not just trial and error. So people generally know that malaria is transmitted by mosquitoes. They generally know from experience in their backyard that mosquitoes like to be around water. We can tell where the water is from a satellite image, but we don't know when the water's there, if it's at the right time for the mosquito. So going from satellite data down to the standing water in your backyard, to mosquitoes hatching and biting you, and then infecting you with a parasite that goes through several life stages, each of which your immune system responds to differently to generate the disease itself within the host. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. And so while we know that mosquitoes transmit the disease, understanding how the disease works, it provides a way for us to help people avoid being infected.